We are live. Or maybe not just a second, but very okay, there we go. Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Hope you're doing well. Hanging out with Jim Morgan. Jim the Captain Morgan. Haven't seen you in a while, Jim. Good to see you, buddy.
It's been a bit. Ever since you quit playing Splinterlands permanently. And you said you were never going back, you were going to sell out everything?
Is that what they said?
No, that's what you said. You left everyone.
That's funny. That's what the SPL TV crew is like. That's the rumor they're spreading, I think.
I think the guy who took over your spot started that rumor.
Whoever that dirtbag is.
Yeah, whoever that guy is.
How's it going over there, by the way? What's going on? Like, oh, you know what? I heard. I was listening to the town hall, and Ron did his thing talking about SPL TV, and he said viewerships are up to around 80 a week, like a show on average. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I've been noticing that. It's kind of crazy.
Cool.
So.
I want to know more about those giveaways and stuff because I'm not there anymore. I want to know, they're doing the whole FOMO thing. So I'd love to hear more about that, and we can tell the people in case they don't know about Splinterlands TV and what times are you doing. But before we do, I just want to say hello to whoever's out there. Deus, to see you, buddy. Morning. Jeez. What's on the schedule for today? Dom, good to see you. Luke. Hey, Luke, good to see you. Retracted a message. Not sure what you had to say there, but that's cool. Jim's back. Watched your interview with the creator of Ascension. Good stuff.
Yeah, Justin Gary, dude. I got to talk with the creator of Ascension. Do you know how crazy that was?
No, I don't even know what Ascension is. Like, tell me more.
Oh, it's when people think of deck builders in terms of what games are now, like aside from Dominion, because Dominion's kind of a really different deck builder. Okay. Ascension was the first deck builder that people like really started to copy.
Cool.
It has, the random deck, and then you put your cards out into the lineup, and like you have your starting deck to buy things, and once you buy a card from the lineup, it then gets refilled.
Interesting. And then giving more options for like the next player to buy from that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you know that there's like cards that your opponent really wants, you just go ahead and pick those up, of course.
Yeah.
So that way they can't get it.
That sounds awesome. And so it's a tabletop.
Cool. Yep. And deck builders are one of my favorite genre game to play. And it was really cool getting to talk with that guy. And he is a former Magic the Gathering pro player, and he won a pro tour.
Those words don't sound like English to me. He won a pro tour. What does that mean?
Yeah. So he won the highest competitive,
Gotcha.
highest tier possible.
Gotcha.
In Magic the Gathering.
Cool. When you said it was your Chicagoan accent that when you said pro tour, I heard like pro tour, like some sort of like like a I don't know, a title or something, or a trophy.
Yeah. My bad.
Aaron says, "Hey, Infidel, you just did a video about my question on the town hall. Are you talking about? You must be talking about the." Aaron must be talking about this here video, too many cards, and I referenced one of Aggie's comments and questions in the frequently asked question portion of the town hall, and or FAQ portion of the town hall, where he was essentially saying, like, are there too many cards? And I don't think so. But also more than that, what if we did the suggestion, what if we, from Soulbound reward cards, do we need to be concerned that Soulbound reward cards are going to make it too cheap to essentially play the game because these are free cards, and maybe we need to be worried about essentially the extraction of rewards because of that, and therefore too many cards? And it's like Aggie firmly said, and I say in this video, like, I really just don't think that that's a problem. And it's so exciting to hear what he had to say about land. Did you see any of that, Jim, or did you see the town? Did you see my video, or do you see the town hall?
I haven't gotten to see it. I watched a little bit the other day from when I was coming back home from work. But yeah, you said they were talking a bunch about land. I saw like 1.0, 1.5 relatively soon.
Yeah. So very quick, because maybe most people know, but maybe some people won't. So within the next week, we should know by the end of February, which is 6 days away. We should have almost a white paper or at least a post kind of thing explaining the progression, the intention with card staking on land. And then, as I understand it, in the near future, I get the feeling it's like, I don't know exactly when, and I'm not sure they know exactly when, but I think within the next, by the end of this quarter, I think, is the intention to have cards being staked. That's like land 1.5. Now, wow. I think there's some, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think like within the next couple months is like the real vision. And so then, okay, well, how big is that? What does that look like if we can start staking cards onto the land? How important is that? And in that video, actually in the town hall, in the AMA portion, the question was like, Aggie says, he had said two things. One, like all the cards are not enough cards, like to put on land. And then he said there's going to be like for certain components of what land can do, there's the potential for like an infinite card staking mechanic. So they talked about how they're going to have like Pretoria. There's going to be a secret in the Pretoria, and those who, I guess, mine for that secret, who commit resources through cards being staked on your land, they're going to have the opportunity to kind of almost earn things toward that, it sounds like. And then also there's DEC stuff. I don't remember exactly how that works, but there's all these commitments around trying to invest and stake resources into land so that you are one of these people that is, I guess, achieving or striving to achieve this secret. And we don't even remember, they never even told us what this thing is, but it's big. They've been really clear. It's going to be massive. You're going to want to win it.
Give me just a sec.
What?
Give me just a minute.
Sure. And so then the card staking just like is, if that's going to be as desirable as it's being implied, the card staking mechanic there is just really exciting. And so for anybody who hasn't seen either the town hall or this video that I put out, we're talking around that topic because the team is telling you right now publicly in writing and in word that there aren't nearly enough cards. And so, man, I feel so like I trust that. The question is, does the audience, like, do you guys believe when Aggro says there's not enough cards? Do you guys believe that when they say the reward for Pretoria Secret is going to be like really special and we're going to want that? And if you have doubt over those, I guess, comments, then I could see, skepticism coming out of, the suggestion that you're going to want more cards. But if you believe those two assertions being brought by Aggro specifically, then I think that it's so bullish.
Yeah, I'm really excited for whatever the secret is. Mm-hmm. And I think it's based upon like the people of the land, right? So if you're putting forward, say, a lot more resources than someone else, you would get, was it percentage of the reward?
It was, yeah. It's some kind of bonus on production, like from what we can glean. It's not been clearly articulated. Mm-hmm. And they talked about how everyone will eventually unlock it, but those who receive it, who are putting the most effort toward, unlocking it, will unlock it first. Certain regions will unlock it one at a time, and one region will win it first, and then that region will benefit from that victory. And then the people who contributed the most to that victory within that region will receive certain titles that are powerful for some reason. And we don't fully understand what this means. I'm just giving you the generality that they shared to us. And then other regions will finish it, and eventually all regions will finish it and have access to that. But then if it's some sort of bonus, if it's some sort of like production bonus, for instance, then region one who had victory first is going to be able to enjoy that much longer than others. I think that's the heart of what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to say Guarana. Wow, I didn't see this live coming. Glad to be here. Glad you're here too, buddy.
He says, give me some tower defense. That's what I'm ready for. True, brother. True.
TD. Yeah, man. I want to take a bite, but I can't, man. I just I'm interested, but I just don't have the dry powder for it. Bobby says he's here. We can start now. Let's get her going then, boys. Let's start the conversation.
Oh, hey there. Bobby Blankenship.
Let's see who else is out here. Come on. Hey, Dwayne, can we use gladiator cards on land? They spoke about this generally, and I don't know that we have 100% promise on this, but they said one thing, like the conversation was like, can we use them on land? And Agrod said, I don't really know. And then Nate spoke up and said, you know what might be cool? Because if we're going to have, we were told that we're going to have battle arenas in Pretoria, like in the land of Pretoria, will be battle arenas that we fight tournaments in within Splinterlands. And so then you, as a landowner, might have an arena on your plot of land that we all come to and fight on. And then Nate said, well, if that's going to be the case, because that is going to be the case. And Nate goes, well, if that's going to be the case, why wouldn't it make sense if gladiators could be put to work in those contexts within the arenas? And Agrod had never thought that before based on his response, but he loved the idea. So I think that's where we're going with that, but that's not 100% yet. And then Aaron says Soulbound. I wonder if you're talking about, I'm not sure why you mentioned Soulbound there, buddy. The man, the myth, the Morgan. Ooh, I like that. That could be a business card.
Hello there. Yeah.
Question was more based on... Yeah. Aaron goes, question was more based on the advantage bots may have without investment, not about too many cards, but you covered that in the video. Yeah, I think that's an important... See, Aaron, when I spoke to the... And you, I think you watched the video, and those of you who haven't, you should go watch my video from this morning. But I tried to hear what you were asking, Aaron, in that question, and cut to what I think is the foundation of the conversation. Because you spoke about how soulbound cards are potentially going to allow rewards for certain accounts that and that would be a problem from the bot perspective. And I've heard that argument before, like it's going to be cheap for bots. This is something Tails says. Tails from the Cryptmancer, who I really respect, but I disagree with on this point. He kind of alludes to the fact that we could get to a place where the bots are self-sufficient, they're running off soulbounds, and they don't ever rent again. First of all, if that's so, that's so. Like it's moot because bots are bots. Like we until we solve the bot, how do we deal with the bot issue? I don't really know why we keep coming back to like, well, what if this thing happens? And what if, like, we can't deal with them. So why are we, you know what I mean? And then the second part is, it's not just about soulbounds in the hands of bots. It's actually about there being too many cards, generally speaking, because people talk about, because that's the broader topic. Because you're essentially saying, well, soulbound cards are too prolific, too common, too easy to get. Bots will take advantage. But people say the same thing, different but same, about Chaos Legion having 15 million packs. And then people say the same thing about reward cards and how there's too many of the more recent ones. And the underlying foundation of the whole conversation, therefore, is, are there too many cards? And that's where I think Agrod really cut to it and was like, forget about being worried about how the soulbound rewards calculate into the payouts of your dailies, and start thinking about how when land comes, there's not going to be enough cards. And I just love that.
Yep. I mean, we've been saying it for quite some time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I personally, want there to be less cards just so that way it appreciates more crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, with all the burning of the Chaos Legion packs, and honestly, I was against when they're like, oh, we're gonna... Whatever packs after a certain point, some are going to be saved, that proposal, for, like, rewards and whatever else. I was kind of like, I don't want that to be a thing until Rebellion comes out. Because then it's just going to still provide that small amount of... additional cards to the market over that smaller amount of time, when they've said in the past of, we want to have downtime for these cards that like they don't want to really have anything out there in terms of main set. And I'm just like, all right, well, now they're just semi going back on that. It's not like that big of a deal because it would be like, what, 300,000 packs over the course of 3 months. Nothing crazy, but it's still the idea of it's not exactly a drought for X time frame like they've brought up.
I see what your point is. And I think I in some ways agree with you too. And the suggestion has been that we really want to, like you used the word drought. I think that's an accurate word. We want to create a moment or a period where there is literally like an absolute gap where you're thirsty for more cards, for more packs, and they just don't exist. And we do know that I guess there's 1.1 million Chaos Legion packs available. Like, I think that, to my knowledge, that means like in people's possession but not opened. Or is it 3 million circulating? Probably circulating. Yeah. This would be those that are left for purchase. So there's over 3 million that are circulating, that are just in people's possession, that will continue to be, I guess, supplied and accessible, and, you know, in some sense holding the price down, because that's a for all the demand that there might be, there is a pretty substantial amount of supply in 3 million. So to add another 300,000 or whatever it was for that ongoing period, I hear you. I guess my view is like, it is pretty. There was two parts. Remember, if we don't put Chaos Legion packs in the loot chests, then there is really no liquid reward from playing Splinterlands. And I know we want that. We want liquid rewards, or at least many of our community does. What do you think about that? From the, you know, if you didn't have Chaos Legion packs coming out of your loot chests, you've got what? Staked SPS that takes 4 weeks to get access to, or you've got what else? You know, merits that you can buy soulbound gladiators.
I'd love to have merits.
Yeah. But none of it's liquid, right? Except for those Chaos Legion packs. What about that? What do you think?
Yeah, I've thought about that as well, because what they did previously, right? They, rather than giving Untamed once that sold out, they then started giving you DEC. And what was it, like 2,000 DEC for if you got the pack?
Yep.
So, but they're not giving out DEC, so I completely understand that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely true. If it's like, oh, what else are we going to give? I understand that there would be a time frame of it's just rough, unless they just replace the packs with more soulbound reward cards.
Yeah.
And then you can't instantly sell it to make money back. It's more of when those are able to become unbound, then you made money on it. But I know it's difficult. I understand why they even put it forward, because they want to have rewards for it. I get that. But it's also a thing of, have they gone back on what they've said? Yes.
Yeah.
Have they done that before? Yes. Is it going to happen again? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also parts that I really liked that they said, and they're kind of going back on it. So it's difficult for me to be like, all right, yeah, I know it's a good thing, because I know that I want it one specific way.
Yeah. Yeah. And with most things that we deal with in the game too, hey, it's like, you can see, you know, I think if you're being honest, you can see that there's a complexity and a nuance to, I guess, resolution, where it's like, you might say, like you said, it would be nice if there weren't more Chaos Legion packs trickling out during that 3 or 6 month period. But then you also are willing to admit that, like, it is nice to have some sort of liquid. So it's like there's a tension there. It's not 100% obvious that we should just do away with it all, and nor is it perfectly problemless to like just keep supplying them. There's implications on both ends that are perhaps good and maybe also complicated.
Astral Robot says, not sure why they don't give Rift Watcher packs instead of Chaos Legion when they sell out. Well, seeing how Rift Watchers is supposed to give money to the DAO and not to Splinterlands itself, Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that would be, what would happen there? That I've never fully thought that through, but yeah, you're right. That it comes down to essentially like the DAO in some sense. It's not right to say that the DAO owns those packs because the team did make them.
It kind of does.
In some sense, yes. But you might, to pull it apart a little further, you might say the team owns them as they own every pack, but they've promised the community that that will translate to funds that go into the DAO. And so I could almost imagine, and so we talked about how proposals can't really touch the pack distribution in a real official sense, in a 100% committed sense. But maybe we could have a proposal that would do something like that, because they really are, in some sense, the DAO's financial opportunity. And if the DAO, meaning the community of SPS holders, wanted to say, to heck with, you know, the SPS it would translate to in our DAO, let's just go ahead and start giving them out instead of Chaos Legion. But I think that that passed. So the Chaos Legion proposal, I think, passed. So I think it's kind of moot now. It was here, right? I think it was here as of earlier today. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure
you can change active filter to all.
You're right. Passed.
Well, you could even look up all, but
yeah.
And then it goes in order.
Reserve enough Chaos Legion packs. Okay. Yeah. See, passed. We had 183 million say yes. We needed 49 to pass it. We had 82% approve it. So those packs are going to be set aside. So even though I guess conceivably he's not wrong, it would have been possible to maybe to do something where Rift Watchers would be handed out. It's never been the intent, like you said, because those are for the DAO, really.
Yeah. And it's to get SPS out of there, or out of like circulation, then we can utilize it later on.
Yeah.
Which, man, who's even buying Rift Watcher packs? Am I right? Huh?
I think you are right, kind of, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a little sad.
I mean, it's been slow and steady. Let's put it that way. Real slow.
Wait a minute. Apparently, we're really close to getting that tree guy that they dropped like 2 months ago.
Yeah, we got 30,000 more packs, I guess, right?
Wow. Yeah.
There was something I was going to say.
$5 in SPS. Oh, that hurts to look at, dude.
I know. I can't do it. Even though I want to, I can't. Rift Watcher cards, in my opinion, are really, really strong, but I'd rather just come in here and go, because every card is like underappreciated, in my opinion, right now. I'd rather just come in here and be like, yep, 6 cents, thank you very much, and whatever.
100%.
Some of these cards feel like old school now, don't they? Like, I mean, Rift Watcher's been around long enough that, for instance, like,
for Rift Watchers,
I look at some of these names. Well, what are some examples? Like, I mean, as I look at them, I just feel like I've looked at these for so long. It hasn't really been, but
Rift Watchers specifically, I don't get that feeling for. Chaos Legion, 100%.
Definitely Chaos Legion. It feels like it was always here.
Yeah. I mean, then again, we've been here for over a year with Chaos Legion, so.
Yeah. So Smoke Lord had a bit of a interesting, maybe a controversial take, or at least something worth talking about. I'll put it up on the screen there. Let's tweak that a little in a second, boys. There it is. Okay. So it's worrisome that bots could end up building almost full decks with soulbound cards and go 95% extraction mode with limited renting. This is the, I guess, the fear that I've heard more than one person raise.
I personally don't see these cards being ridiculously good just to be using on their own.
Yeah. I think you're going to be really hamstrung if that's your approach.
Yeah. But it's like, sure, they'll be able to get some rewards, but it's like, if you're playing, I don't know, because these cards are just like overly statted. I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, I agree with you. I mean, if those are the only cards you had access to, I don't see you winning very often. But then also, and even the summoners, like, I mean, this, like, let's just quick look at them. Reward.
6 mana for use gladiator cards. So if they're also not a part of a guild and have been getting merits an okay amount, those gladiator cards aren't really going to matter either.
Mm-hmm.
Or the summoners with that ability.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you can't look at them here. I was like, why aren't they showing up? Yeah. They have a role, they have a use, and the suggestion that they are going to, I guess, eliminate the need for access to other cards is on some sense, I guess it's possible. Like you're right, you could play in that context, but one, I think it's been overhyped that the reward cards are going to fill up really, really quickly. That's one thing that I've seen from more than one, commenter in this space. It's like, we're going to have max level decks, in a short period of time. And I can't remember who covered this. It might have, I saw one of the guys on YouTube cover it, and they said, look, it's like you get like any sort of drop rate on any sort of, where there's RNG involved. You can see sometimes you get out to an early start. Maybe you get, certain cards that are you get several copies of it in the early going. Like, I don't know, maybe you have like a level 4 Pembroke Nymph, for instance. I guess it's possible. I mean, some people probably do. That'd be 25 copies. But then it's a dramatic increase in the number of BCX that are even required to get one more level. And so I think that's maybe part of the answer. It's like, I think part of the concern that Smokelord and others are raising is like out of a fact that people have already seen higher levels of certain cards, but do they have a full deck? No, they've gotten lucky with certain cards. And then the second part is, even if they have, like, let's say a level 4 or even a level 5 already for certain cards like this, to then go into the levels at the highest level is going to be such a different. You need to not only get lucky for the first 2 weeks, but for probably the first 6 months, like constantly, and because of all the cards. There's 43 of these, I think, and to get this one, and not gold foil but regular because that's the one you're collecting, or yes, gold foil because that's the one you're collecting. I feel as though it's less likely that we're going to see those decks top out in a full sense. And then I guess I also just want to reiterate what I said earlier, which is like, if the conversation is around, well, bots are going to have this free run. Well, I mean, you're really saying bots are a problem. And I mean, we've been saying that for years, and like our community, I mean, and I just don't know, like, what do we do about that? Like, why it feels like I'm hitting my head against the wall when we look at, well, look, it's causing this problem, and it's causing this problem, and it's causing this problem. Okay, but what could we do about them? That's the question. Like, there's no point in being upset about, well, they might put together a full deck and they might, extract, significant rewards without providing any sort of rental cost to the market or any of that. Yeah, they might. But what are we proposing? Like, how are we going to solve meaningfully the bot conversation? Because there's no point in kind of arguing about how the soulbounds could go haywire with in their possession if we come back to it and we realize we just can't do anything about it. And then also that we are doing what little we can. Like, you look at the team revising how rewards are handled over the last year or two. That's been an effort around bots. Or you look at what, I guess, the third party technology development has kind of done in this conversation too. Like what Nifty Arcade has publicly said, like we're striving to exclude bots from this service. And so there are efforts being made to deal with that problem. And it's like, even if I'm not convinced you're entirely right that we need to be worried about them going into quote unquote 95% extraction mode. But also, even if you are 100% right, the question becomes like, well, again, how do we resolve it? And we're doing what we can. And I feel like there's no point in talking about it beyond that is kind of how I feel.
So I saw in the chat someone talked about how Tails and After Sounds made a video beating a kitty with all soulbound cards.
Mm-hmm.
I found the video.
Did you? Is it good?
No, it's not good.
Tell me.
Okay. All right. Okay. I guess I can send it to you.
Yeah, send the battle.
Right, and you can pull it up. What's up?
Send the battle. Like, can you send or no, I guess you can't copy paste the battle link.
Yeah, no. I sent it to you in Discord.
Okay.
And it's around 9 minutes.
Okay, but I don't want to watch a 9-minute video of them. But if you are you able to?
No, I was saying just like fast forward to the game.
Okay, good. Okay, send it to me on the I think it's, which one is this that I
sent it to the one we're talking on.
Yeah, 1258. No, send it to me on 1258 because that's where, yeah, there we go. Okay. I'm just gonna give it a second, boys. I'll come back to that one, and I want to pause. I want to actually, what I want to see is I want to screen share the battle.
So yeah, it'll be around 8 minutes. You can start it there.
And while we're maybe waiting on that commercial, I'll tell you, I think I watched part of Aftersound and Keys and Darkest Night and Tails were talking about this. Yeah, man. I mean, can something beat something else? Can Pyre beat Kitty? Of course it can. Like, are you legitimately concerned that Pyre is gonna suddenly replace Kitty? No.
Yeah, not at all.
Okay. So this is 8 minute, and then we're around 8.
Yeah, put it to 8 minutes.
Is this the team?
Yeah. Yeah, you can start it there.
Okay. So hang on a second. Where are they? Tails is on. I guess this is
Tails
him.
is on, the bottom.
Okay. So he's got the Gladiator Summoner. He's got which means he's brought out Katrelba with the Double Strike and Bloodlust.
Who's so effing good. Like, okay, the fact that they had to bring this card into it.
And the Martyr, right?
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Double Martyr.
Yeah.
And spoilers, one of them doesn't activate.
And this is a bronze level battle. Like, this is level 1 Kitty versus like a level 2. Yeah, it's easy enough to get like a level, like I said, a lower level Gladiator Summoner. I mean, are we talking about this being a problem at the highest levels? Because that's what I've heard. I did hear Tails say like this could be a problem. We could put together full decks relatively quickly. But then what we're looking at is like a total low level deck. So is the problem at the lowest level or is it the highest level? Because I'm hearing mixed messages. I don't see how it could possibly be a problem at Diamond Champion. And we know that collection powers have been, I guess collection powers may be going away, but we also know that currently you can play at those higher levels for relatively inexpensively. So part of the conversation is always coming back to, like, if you're seeing problems like this or brokenness at bronze, get out of bronze. But let's watch the video here.
And real quick, Dwayne, do you remember, because I've been saying this for a while, do you remember how I've said you counter Kitty?
No.
You burst her down. So that way the healing can't really take effect.
Yeah.
But also, if you're able to just instantly kill off the back line, like he's about to do, because double strike, sneak, and you can see he's going to kill that 4 HP guy in the first round to then just get higher and then go to 3 damage, or my bad, to 4. Because he got the martyr effect as well.
Yep.
So it's just like the healing doesn't matter. Now the speed control doesn't matter because you're pushing your speed even further. It's just like, guys, Kitty isn't unstoppable. Like, what do you... Okay. Yeah. I just can't. I hate seeing them talk about just how brokenly OP Kitty is. I'm like, guys, she is beatable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a strong card, and that actually, after this, it makes me want to transition into. I mean, look at the Bloodlust kit going. I mean,
Yeah, it's
this could provoke a conversation around how gladiators and bloodlust in the game are really powerful, which is a different conversation than like then soulbound reward cards are going to help bots. It could also talk about how, you know, Kitty is beatable and in some contexts overrated, because we talk about Kitty like it's absolutely the only, like heads and shoulders above all other summoners, and contextually that's not true. Like, I mean, there's so many different scenarios where it's not going to be optimal, whether it's reverse speed or whether it's healing's been canceled, or whether dragon's not available. Like, there just are so many, or whether it's a low mana match even, like sometimes. So there's just so many contexts where this card, of course it's good. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not trying to make an argument that it's not amazing. I think it probably is the best summoner. But is it, you know, 5 times better than, you know, Jotun, or 5? No, it's not. It's substantively better, and that's important. But when we talk about a game like Splinterlands, you have to always remember that it's not about the most overpowered summoner or the most overpowered splinter. It's about having a diversity of options so that you can counter and you can, you know, confuse your opponent. And I think those are really important. And that's partly why a card like this is very helpful. But I mean, I think the more interesting conversation is not around like how it's a problem for our because the tone here is like there's a problem for our economy because these cards are free. No, I mean, we always had reward cards that were free. And well, we didn't have summoners before, Dwayne. Okay, fine, but like you're not gonna have long lasting and substantive success if you're able to play one look. You need multiple. Like, I have a 5 million power and like 24 summoners, and you know, I still probably win 50% of my matches. If you want to propose to me that you're going to come at people with just gladiator summoners and you're going to put that together quickly also and play at a higher level and still have success while only really presenting one look, I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's even lucky that like he has both those martyrs, by the way. Like he had, and again, it's like, can you get it quickly? Yes, you can get it quickly, but it's not everyone that's going to have access to all of these things rapidly. But I can tell that this is like a tense conversation for our community because they really believe that it's just going to be free for bots to extract value. And first of all, it's not free because they're putting in like I don't know, man. It's this is it just feels like it's complaining, and I'm just not a complainer. Like, I'm like, my view when it boils down to it is we have to just, why are we caring what other people are doing? Why aren't we focusing on like the opportunity in front of me or in front of you? Because it's like, that's where, because it just feels like, oh, John Doe is doing better than me, and I'm grumpy about that. And I'm like, who cares what John Doe is doing? Can you make life-changing opportunity for yourself through a blockchain-based video game? I really think you can. But it's like, you're not going to do that by being fixated on what John or Jim or James is doing. It's like, what can you do? That to me is the healthiest and most proactive and productive thought process to kind of come at this for and through, and that necessitates like almost a disregard or not a disregard, because that's actually, I don't mean closing my eyes to this conversation. I mean like recognizing what is maybe a problem and talking about it for sure, but then moving on and being like, okay, until we figure out exactly how we're going to deal with bots, the issue is whatever. Like, it's just a moot. It's just, we might as well just complain that the sky is blue. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, I love the comments about Secret of Pretoria. Sounds like a fancy romance novel, or earlier I saw that it sounds like a perfume from somebody. I love that. When I heard Aggie talk about it in the town hall, he called it, he almost called it Secret, Victoria's Secret, which made me laugh too. Gathering, good to see you, buddy. Want to know more details on the infinite staking? How will that work? 100%, dude. This is, see, like, Gathering's question kind of cuts to the core of my worldview within this game. It's like, are there problems with Splinterlands? Of course. Are there ways that we can strive to improve the economy, the card distribution, the player experience? Yes, yes, yes. And we should strive after that. But then if you have some belief and confidence that those things are being pursued, maybe not resolved, but pursued, and I believe that the team is actively pursuing those things, new game player experience, thinking through the tokenomics and also the card distribution. I believe they're considering all of those issues, and I just want to sit back and trust them in that. And then simultaneously, I want to look at comments like Gathering and say, this is it, man. Like, tell me more about this infinite staking business, because this is where my opportunity comes alive, where like I don't need to worry about what someone else is doing or how they're exploiting. Like, I can be like, there's ways, if this is real, quote unquote, infinite staking on land. And I heard Hawks21 talk about, we don't even know really how meaningful the reward will be for that process. But if the infinite staking is truly infinite, first of all, and then if the reward that you get out of infinite staking is substantial and desirable, those are two questions, then you have to begin to believe that truly a large amount of cards will be put into it. And that's where like the rental market gets turned upside down and profits on your cards go through the roof and card appreciation shoots up because rental card prices are shooting up. And so it's like, that's where my attention goes, not, hey man, like they're doing something over there with bot farms. It just, I don't see the value in that conversation. And I see so much value in setting up myself for my next step. That's what I'm ready for. Tower defense. Jim, let's talk about tower defense for a bit. What you,
okay.
Yeah, let's get into it. What do you got to say?
It's going to be lit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope so.
Have you been adding to anything with that?
So I haven't added anything in quite some time now.
Okay.
I was like considering taking some of the daily rewards that I get and just kind of turning it into more packs, but I was just like, you know what? I want to now focus. I have a good amount. I have almost 600 still, and I wanted to start working on getting my collection back, and also now maybe get some land. I don't think I want to get a lot of land. Probably put like, I don't know, get a couple, and then kind of wait till they come out with the extra stuff. But if I was gonna go deep into land, I'd want to buy a tract. So yeah, very reasonably priced.
It feels like 11,000 has kind of been a floor. Now we have seen some go for about 8, but when they get listed, they get bought. And so it feels like 10 is kind of a floor for land. If you're interested in land, and I am, it feels as though like it's been a year and a half of it bleeding out. And now we actually have some sense of, what's it called? I guess realization of it. Like, actually it's actually going to start to be real in the coming weeks. So I'm particularly interested, in part because of it's becoming real, and in part because it really feels like there's been a floor to the price.
Yeah.
But have you bought any plots of land recently? Do you own any at all?
I don't have any right now. The one I got from Steve a while ago, I liquidated it to get another license. So I was like, okay, that's one of my priorities that I had then. And I don't really know how I feel about it right now. I do think that it's still long-term a good pickup, but I also really want to get into land, which I think long-term is a good pickup. So it's like, all right, do I consider liquidating and kind of putting it towards that? And I don't know.
Man, I'm starting to think about totems. Like, and I feel as though I kind of missed the boat, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, if I could,
Dude, those totems are nuts.
I do want totems, but
I think here it's kind of, they seem ridiculously priced if you were going to buy them on here. Because I think on Tribal or on the Hive market, it's going for cheaper, quite a bit cheaper.
Totem. Let's look at a common totem.
Common.
$20 for a common.
What is it over?
24. Rare.
So
what's a rare?
20% more.
Yeah, that's pretty normal for just because it's so easy to deal with. There's an extra 51 for the rare over here, and then you got 95, dude.
Oh.
So it pays to understand this stuff. Like you come probing over here, you get, and it must be. Or hang on a second. So there's a sell order for. It might, just because that's the last price doesn't mean that that's what they're selling for.
Yeah.
So 194 is the ask, and so you times that by 46 cents.
There's just not enough.
46 cents. So 200 times by 46 cents. So you're talking $92 actually. So in fact, but see what happened was, and what could happen is if you came in here and placed a bid for 111 and somebody who has a rare decides to sell into you, that's where you get these opportunities. But I guess you can put low bids out here too, can't you? Let me see. I go rare. I go.
I don't think there's any set
right.
amount that people are buying it at.
No, you can't. In here, you can't place a ask or a bid. And if for people who don't know markets, like to say a bid is like, I'm declaring to the community, I would be willing to pay $60. I could in Hive Engine, you can do that, but on Splinterlands marketplace, you cannot. You just have to, this guy is selling one. If you want it, you can buy it. That's how it works over here.
Yeah. I know the totems are going to be really nice, but I'm also picking up gold foil cards because those are going to be really good for the lands as well.
Dude, yes, please. Gimme. Are you said before we went live, you said you spent a couple $100. Like, what are you looking at these days?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much only picking up gold foil cards. The other day I picked up level 2 Chaos Dragon. I picked up Carnage Titan. Just like slowly building my deck towards Gold League as well. So yeah, I've been picking some stuff up recently, and this Friday, it'll be a spicy stream, is what I'll say. People aren't going to be ready for it.
Are you still? Oh man, what was I going to say? You gold foil, gold cards. Oh, dang. Slipped my mind. Are you, then you said spicy. I'm thinking that means do you have some gold foils that need to go to the furnace or what? What are we talking about here, Jim?
Whoa. I have some gold foils that are going to be going to my collection.
Yeah. And maybe one or two that are going to go to the DEC pile, I bet.
Oh, man. All right. Settle down, Dwayne. All right. We're not talking about that. Everyone knows. And by everyone, there's actually some new people in the stream that don't know that I do that yet. Do you know how crazy that is to me?
That is crazy. They need to they need to understand, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to teach them. I will teach them.
Henny, I'm going to say, how many copies will be printed of the current reward cards? I don't think we actually know the answer to that.
About 2 years worth is what they said.
They said 1 to 2 years. And so it's not a number so much as a time window. And I think they would be willing to shrink that. So it's not like 1 year has been promised and 2 years maybe. I think it's really like we don't know.
I like time window more than set amount.
Yeah, me too.
Like, make a time window, especially for like the sets that drop, because then you're not worrying about, oh, we're not going to have enough packs, or oh, we have too many. It's just print to demand. Print to demand. Physical card games do this.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I'd say for a window of time, print to demand. But then,
yeah, whatever that time frame is.
Yeah. So if it's like this, you give me 6 months, you say to us it's going to be 6 months. This new Rebellion, for instance, is going to be released, and it's going to start on such day and it's going to end on such day, regardless of how many packs we sell. And then you could almost at that point, after the window is over, start handing out the airdrops so that you could properly calculate. Okay, well, we sold 5 million packs. And that's going to mean that X number, you had to have X packs to have X amount of airdrops. Because that would be, in some sense, like you say, sell to the audience. Like, we want this, but also you said, Jim, and Deus is saying here in a comment, we definitely need a drought of new things to buy so that the community can get some powder saved up. Otherwise, Rebellion won't move. And this idea of creating drought is connected to an idea of doing a time-based release, because it's like those who want it get it. It's gone after this window, and then there is a mandated or like a guaranteed drought window where in the past we've seen card prices just shoot to the moon during those windows because people can't get packs anymore. And that's an exciting thing for new players to then begin to realize what they're actually accumulating through their time and attention. And so, yeah, man, I agree. That'd be cool. Another question though, Jim, do you think that as much as I think we both made good points for why it would be cool, do you think that we'll ever do that? Time-based release for a pack?
I think so, because they kind of like hinted at it, because, they've talked in the past how they do want that time frame of drought essentially. And they said 9 months on, 3 months off.
Yeah.
Right. So even if they make it to where you can't bulk buy packs, it's just slow trickle for the rewards for 3 months. Okay, I'm fine with that. Make it to where whatever sells, right, take about like 10% of that and spread it out through the 3 month time frame. I think that would be a pretty decent setup. Or whatever the number is that you come up with, right? Whatever the number is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would like to see more exploration of that. And I think the excitement that comes out of massive price appreciations. Okay, no, hang on. Let me say that differently. The excitement that can come when there's a drought for card assets is massive, because it translates into a card appreciation, because there are X number of players who love this game and who are constantly investing X amount of money on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And that demand is currently outweighed by the supply of assets available. But when it's not, when supply dries up fully, that demand goes to the card market, which causes card prices to spike, which causes rental prices to spike, because you're not going to give away a card for no rental cost if the price of the card itself has gone up substantively. And then it starts this whole conversation around, wow, Splinterlands is giving these away. Look at how much it's worth. Look at how much this reward card is worth on the marketplace. And they were giving these away recently. And that gets a FOMO happening with new player admissions. And I think that's what we saw when before Chaos Legion launched, after Untamed.
So Daniel Kalir has stated, I think only 50% of totem supply has been released. So we'll still be able to pick up some cheap totems.
Ooh, I didn't really know that, to be honest. That's cool.
Yeah, I remember that from I guess a few weeks ago, someone brought that up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point.
And you know what? Now that you say that too, I remember Matt or Aggie saying that we'll be able to earn token fragments through farming our land. I don't exactly know what that means, but it's like you'll be able to put them together slowly, and that might be So that's cool. That's
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited for land now.
Mm-hmm.
Once I've talked to Steve about it, and he's like, "You're going to be a card producer. You will actually be making cards." And I'm like, "Man, I really want to do that."
Yeah.
And there's going to be like no other way to get whatever these cards are.
Mm-hmm.
And if it makes it to where, you know, it goes on like a rotation, so it's like, say it's every 3 months, crafted cards no longer being able to be produced, boom, new crafted cards come out. 3 months later, boom, new crafted cards come out.
Aman Samnani says, what are your thoughts on items and spells? Should they be purchasable or can they be rentable also? And this is like a land conversation too, so we can connect it here.
Yeah.
From what I understand, they're going to be, the items and spells are going to be disposable, meaning like single use. But then
I heard that that's not correct.
Yeah.
From Steve. This was like a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Apparently, they're not going to be going the consumable route anymore.
Ah.
And you'll be able to pick this stuff up like their actual, I guess, cards, they're NFTs that you're going to be able to utilize and buy off market.
Cool. Either way, you know, to me, it's like the idea that I'm going to be the source of this supply for this asset that I imagine and I believe will be desirable, because I trust the developers and I see what their intention is to make it desirable. And then when I imagine the power of looking at a battle screen and then recognizing that I'm probably going to lose, but hey, I can drop this item or spell and turn a loss into victory, and what that would mean for my daily, season, and week, my rewards in the game. Of course, that has a financial value, like an important financial value. And then as a landowner, I'm the only way to get that. You know, not me specific. I mean, the landowners are the only way to get that. It's not coming from Splinterlands. It's not going to be generated by the DAO. It's coming from land, or it's not coming at all. And we own land. And it's like, so I'm just pumped about it generally without even fully understanding that element. But that's cool. I didn't know that was where they were kind of leaning.
Also, so the consumable route made it to where the stuff would be burned, right? This new route is going to just be they level up. So you have to combine them in order to then power them up even further.
So in some sense, they're burned or burnable, because if you're saying, you know, you need multiple copies to bring them together to power it up, that's the same way cards are quote unquote burned when you level up from level 1 to 10.
Exactly.
Bobby says items and spells shouldn't be rentable because they're meant to be consumable. But again, I think Jim was addressing that. That's like going to a restaurant and renting your meal. I like that. But
they're not going to be consumable though.
Yeah, but I think even if they're not rentable, even if they are rentable, even if they are sellable, because you're saying they're not consumable, they're permanent in some sense. The assets themselves are going to a marketplace, regardless of whether, like, no matter what the final product does. And I think I hear you, and I think I heard something. I agree with you, Jim. I'm pretty sure I heard that too, elsewhere. But even just recognizing that the tokens or the components of the assets you're making, whether it's like brick on yours and wheat on mine, those are going to go to a marketplace where we can compile them and to make them into items and spells. So there's definitely going to be a market here. One way or another for us as landholders. Richard just got his first plot. Love it.
Congrats, man.
Was going to buy the Dragon Summoner, but meh. Let's talk about the Dragon Summoner, because I
think it's time.
I'm into it. I'm into it, man. What do you think?
I personally love all of that camouflage. I think it's beautiful. The plus HP, meh, whatever. The triage, kind of like a non-bow with the camouflage, but still blast is a thing, and scatter shot, which I was actually surprised to find out scatter shot didn't hit camouflage before, because I thought it did. But now it is, now it's going to hit or hit camouflage, so I'm happy about that. So the triage kind of protects a little bit from that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, logically speaking, like scattershot is essentially, I don't know where this is landing. It's going to land in one of the possible places it could land. And you've got 5 camouflage monsters. Well, I'm not aiming at them, but I could, because of it just makes logical sense that the scattershot was changed like that.
I close my eyes, 360 spin. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah. I think triage is maybe better than you allude to there. Like, I think, especially in higher mana matches, when I'm looking at a dragon summoner usually in a higher mana match, and something like this with the camo, you really aren't probably wanting this in like a 12 mana match, because camo does nothing for you. +1 heart is whatever. Triage isn't helping you if you have no back line. So this card is like, you're talking a big mana match, and you're thinking really amazing backline monsters that you want to hold up. And I find that 1 triage, 2 triages can be so powerful. Or you think about like a taunt monster such as what's his name? The one from the green team, Slipspawn. The Masilic Slipspawn has taunt, and it has the magic damage, so it ends up being really helpful in the back line. And we've also been told that taunt will supersede over and above the camo. So you just imagine Slipspawn in the 6th spot. Yes, he's quote unquote camoed, but he also is taunting. And then you can have now, like, I think quadruple triage supporting that Slipspawn, because you have this triage. Let's go over to peak monsters quickly.
The Spirit Hoarder.
Yeah. You got the Spirit Hoarder. I'm going to go regular.
Oh, Queen Mycelia gets it too?
That's right. And go...
green.
I'm trying to... There it is. Green and neutral and theoretically dragon. So, look at this. I mean... This is like, this guy's one is so cheap, and he's got a tank heal too, which is such a great combo. So you got 1, 2, 3 triages, and then you get 4 from your summoner, and then remember Slipspawn has force field, so if he is taking big 5 damage bombs, they're actually turning into 1, which makes it so much easier to triage it up. And I didn't know Uloth has triage. Yeah, there it is. Like, this is a damage doer that could maybe, you know what I mean? Like, that's a good amount of
stun.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good card.
And the stun. So I think there's going to be some I think that triage is actually pretty meaningful. And then, like you said, the blast, just helping a little bit when the blast is getting back there.
So real quick, DJ said, Jim, return fire, magic reflect, thorns. Come on. You can keep your backline alive forever to heal and repair your tank. Yes and no, because this isn't a buff to your whole team triage. This is a buff from your summoner that's just going to trigger.
That's right.
So you're only triaging the one from the backline that has taken damage closest to your tank. So in line order. If your whole backline is taking essentially return fire, the thorns effects, blah blah blah, there's no way you're keeping your backline alive forever. It's not enough healing. And but overall, I think the card's really cool. I know everyone was overhyping it because they're like, oh, it's going to be the next kitty, except we knew that they were kind of nerfing this latest set because of how strong the previous one was. They're like, all right, we don't want to have that much power creep.
Yeah.
Right. They're trying to balance things out. They're trying to get us away from the one card perfection, unless you're sitting on a Lux, but that's a different story.
Yeah. And I think that makes me want to comment more on the comparison between this and Kitty, because I think, I mean, this is not Kitty. Kitty is unique in its sort of power, but like we talked about earlier, this game is designed in a way where the best card in the game is not good in many, many contexts. And that is true for Kitty. And I feel as though we have rose-colored glasses when we look at Kitty, because it's so expensive. First of all, part of it is that the price is appreciated so dramatically that that our community ends up saying like, this has been proven to be, everyone wants it. And we look at the prices and say, look, it's like verifiable. It's objectively true. This card is so amazing. It's the best. And in some sense, we use the price appreciation as like the silver bullet to a conversation. Like you might like talk about who's the best NHL player of all time, and you'd be like, well, who's got more Stanley Cups? And in some sense, the price of the card currently is what is, it feeds into the conversation of Kitty is the best, because it is probably the best, but it's like there's so many contexts you wouldn't want that card. And then the broader conversation too always has to come back to, if you had, like, you're playing a diamond level D league and you have $3,300, $4,000 for a kitty, or $4,000 to build your deck, your diamond deck, you better not pick kitty. Like, that's not the play. Like, there's so many holes you could fill with $4,000. And so when you take the picture as a whole and you start to recognize that, yes, it's a powerful card, but options are really, and diversity and being able to surprise your opponent, those are really where like massive, I guess, success comes out of. I think I'm not saying kitty's bad. I'm just saying it's so there's just so much love for this card. And then I think that translates into looking at Shield Paw and being like, oh, it's like, I saw comments being like, it's terrible, or even in the comment section today, like, meh. It's like, no, this is a very good card. It's very good. And it'll have a unique circumstance too. Like I alluded to earlier, you're not going to use this in a 12 mana match. There would be no reason to. You probably, but in a really high mana match, this is going to be very substantial. Camouflage to your best support monsters that are super vulnerable because of their glass cannons. Well, now they're tucked away back there because of camo. And that's going to allow bombs to be dropped as long as your tank is being upheld. But many times, those amazing support monsters that are dropping bombs are also giving things like blind, or they're giving things like triage or tank heal or repair that are helping to support that one visible tank. And then, like I said, you can do double taunts. Like, you can put in the first position one amazing tank, in the sixth position a slip spawn, and really rely on. So this card is amazing, and we're wrong to say it's not, but it's probably not as good as Kitty. But at the same time, that doesn't mean it's not amazing, and it's not going to see its own story of appreciation. And yeah, maybe I'll stop there and I'll let you, Jim. What do you think about that?
All right. So I kind of got distracted, started looking up whoever has the most Stanley Cups.
No, it's all, Kitty versus Shield Paw. And is Kitty just like night and day better than this thing? Or, what's the, like, do you see, or do you agree with my suggestion that the context matters and price matters? If you got $4,000 to buy Kitty, look at what that could do for your overall deck. So what do you think about all that?
If we're saying price say money doesn't matter. Obviously, one card is better than the other.
Sure.
Except people are working on a budget here. Okay, not everyone is just gonna go out buy a kitty. Everyone can't go out and buy a kitty.
Yep.
Right. It's literally impossible. So I think the real question is, right, not so much between Kitty and this card. I think it's between Quicks and this card with Shield Paw. I think that is the real question here.
Interesting.
And I personally went for the Quicks because I like that more proactive route. The speed control nerf, and like, if there's ever Rangers, because Rangers hit pretty dang hard, right? And there's times where I've seen that carry me because they brought in a couple Rangers that are hitting like a truck, and it's just like, all right, nerf their damage output as well. But I do see a lot of cool things that you can do with this new character.
Yeah.
Having camouflage on just like the cards that would normally get sniped out, just destroyed, makes it to where, all right, you mix it with the death monsters who have the life leech, and it's like by the time they get to the front, they're huge, right?
Yep.
Just
Scavenge also.
And then behind them, you put the who is the dragon healer with tank heal?
Is that with tank heal? You
Osha?
Mean Osha or Constantia?
Osha? Yeah. So then you throw that behind it with all the HP that they've gotten now from their life leech. Well, now your heal is going even further beyond.
Yeah.
So there's like so many cool things that you can do with this card and just like be able to get away with it. And it's like, sure, Scattershot can hit your stuff, but we already know that Scattershot isn't consistent. So it's not a really reliable thing to be like, oh, they're playing Shield Paw, boom, we play Jace K and just go ham.
So you said something really cool that I think is definitely, I haven't really properly thought through. You know, the conversation isn't maybe Kitty versus Shield Paw, but Quicks versus Shield Paw. And I do think Quicks is another one we sleep on. But I think, I want to say a couple things, and I want to throw back to you because I'm just going to dip out for a minute, guys. BRB. But it seems to me Quicks is underrated. And I think, I find a lot of success with this card. For 4 mana, it gives you the speed reduction and the archery. And there's so many, like even now we have the archery only rule set, which is becoming, I see it quite a few times. And then cards like Fernheart, where, you know, archery is becoming more prevalent, even in the first position, makes Quicks, gives you like that indirect buff. And then, but even not only I think Quicks is underrated, and maybe that's an interesting conversation that you started there, Jem. But I also just wonder, like, where do you think about, like, where does Shield Paw fit in this conversation? Like the legendaries from this, not just Quicks, but like Immortalis, Possibilis, Grandmaster, Astral, Conqueror. You know what I mean? Like, because there's, I think you got to remember the dragon component gives it a huge leg up on any one Splinter, regardless of whether you like maybe the kit of one of them uniquely powerfully. But also, I think it's a strong kit. So I'm just going to step away for 1 minute, but I just want to hear you maybe talk about that a little bit, Jim, about like, where does it fit into this, not just with Quicks, but with the rest of these legendaries?
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So specifically when it comes to all of these legendary summoners, for me, I always like to look at what can be the most proactive or provide like an omni defense, right? So because there's ways to set up counters for your opponent, except there's ways to just play around that. So you need to have something that it's literally impossible for them to play around. Grandmaster Wraith, phenomenal card because of it. Gives everything armor, gives everything the void. Void shield? Yeah. Void shield, and then the amplify, nice little added bonus. You know, when it works great. But you're providing that omni defense to where normally you're better off playing proactively. So with the Possibilis, yeah, the trample's really great, but I see it just being like a win more card because the HP doesn't provide anything for you to just be like, hit them harder. There's no pierce. The reach is cool, but they already have so many really good reach cards. So the reach is kind of like meh. And then the trample, when it connects, boom, it's great. It looks amazing. The astral entity, I know you're able to do some cool stuff with it, but looking at the stats, the -2 armor is definitely nice, but then the dodge, resurrection, it's not proactive enough for me. There's no speed, there's no damage increase, so you're not really getting a speed control. You kind of are with the dodge, but it's not the same as just I'm going first and I don't have to worry about anything. Immortalis, huge fan of this card. I love the minus HP and the other cards that you're able to play with it. In terms of what's this new guy called? Shield Paw.
Yeah.
In terms of where I would place him with this, I would place him around like middle of the pack because it doesn't really provide you anything offensively, but it provides you essentially an omni defense with I'm able to just completely avoid your attack because you can't attack me unless you have the shield or scatter shot. That's the only way. So in theory, it is essentially an omni defense. So we could put it slightly above.
I'm doing a little.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts with it.
I'm doing a poll right now. I heard you talk about. I heard the word proactive, and you're talking. So you're speaking about, like creating your own best foot forward versus like, trying to stop your opponent from doing so, right? Yeah.
But then you also have to look at the omni defense that Wraith provides, which I've also talked about. Because it's like, okay, I'm going to set up all these counter plays, and it's like, if they're going magic, I'm going to destroy them, and then it's like they don't go magic, so it's like, what was the point of that defense or the counter play?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult playing control, because you don't know what your opponent's going to play. It's not a tournament that you go to, and it's like, oh, I know everyone in the top eight's playing this deck, and I'm going to build towards that deck and everything else in the meta. You don't know what people are going to pick. You don't know the rule set. So the best thing you can do is apply pressure. You need to be the one going out there and just getting it.
You know what? There's a comment that I got from a friend of mine on, let's see, it's right in here. Comments. Let's see, I have responded to it. Let me see. Betelgeuse is like part of the time and attention, but also he's been like a long-time supporter for the YouTube channel, and he's actually very generously over the years like given stuff for giveaways for our community. So great guy. And he goes, it's on the topic of Shield Paw, and it's on like, I guess, the value proposition for these sort of Chaos Legion legendary summoners. Where did he? That's not the one. Here it is. He goes, I was actually hoping one of the airdrop summoners would have a magic buff. Oh, well. Same. Yeah, me too, actually. About this one, though, concerning the artwork, yeah, not what I expected. Honestly, it sounds like he doesn't really care about that. But then he goes, overall, I'd say it's underwhelming for this and a lot of the Chaos Legion airdrops. And this is something I want to talk about here. He goes, but the thought that is most front and center for me is this: to get airdropped a max copy of this card, one would have to have purchased 7,425 packs for this. Just let that sink in. Do those two sides seem equal? And so, at least for me, buying Chaos Legion packs to get airdrops is completely, utterly insane. Unless you have money to burn. Who knows? Maybe the sentiment was similar for the last set too at the time. So this idea of like, you need 7,400 packs to get a max copy of this card. Like, what are that seems crazy. And I wanted to talk about that, Jim. I think
that's kind of wrong, though.
The thinking is wrong, or what do you mean?
The number of packs.
Oh, how so?
Because isn't it like, in theory you need half because you have a 2% chance of getting the cards?
I don't know, man. I don't know
aside from the guarantees.
Even maybe you're right. I actually don't know though. And
okay, I'm pretty sure it's a 2% chance per pack that you have.
But I think even if that's so, like, I almost want to pull back.
Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, because I think even like I feel like the bigger conversation is around. It's like, well, one, when you buy packs, you do so at the beginning of a launch of a card release, not because you want the dragon, but because you want the 5 cards in the pack, and then you want the opportunity to get one of every one of those 14 airdrops. And so I think and I said this to him. I said, like, no, it's the wrong attitude, because it's like, if you bought 7,400 packs, you got a max copy of every card, of every legendary card, and every airdrop, and then more than that, and then more than that, there was the SPS airdrop with the points we got while we were holding those packs during that period of time. And so, I just, again, it's probably, you know, Dwayne and his optimism, but I just don't see it that way at all. I mean, first of all, I think Shield Paw's strong. It's going to have context and utility within certain, you know, moments. But then also, I do think when, like I said, alluded to earlier with Kitty, I think when we get 2 or 3 years down the road and you see price appreciation on Shield Paw, because that's going to come, people are going to then speak about Shield Paw in a more reverent way that just is a product of the price appreciation. Like I said, with Kitty, it's like $4,000 now. So people just like take it for granted that, you know, it's so good, but it's like, yeah, it is. But so are these other cards. So is Wraith, and it's $20 a pop. So is Yasik in the right situation. So is Quix the Devious in the right situation. But we don't speak with them about with reverence, because they're common and they're easy to get, and the packs are still being released. And so just I thought that was a nice way to maybe wrap that. And I'd love to hear if you have anything to add in there, Jim, but it just felt connected to our conversation around Shield Paw there.
I think the cards that they made, they said it in the chat, they made Untamed Summoners too strong. The legendary ones were just phenomenal. And everyone is now just comparing all future sets to that. And like, sure, it's kind of a bad thing, but it's just bound to happen.
The poll results coming through.
Oh man,
can you see it, Jim? I pressed close.
Oh yeah. So in 99 mana match, Shield Paw is the best Chaos Legion summoner, legendary summoner, with 70%.
Yeah, man.
So 29% said it's the worst.
Yeah, I don't know if I even, like, for my own, like, I framed it that way. I think it probably is. It's in the conversation for the best in that context, in my mind. And I love Wraith, and I actually am really starting to like Immortalis, and I really enjoy using Possibilis. So the conversation is, and then you made a great strong point about Quix. So there's a lot of, I'm not 100% sure where I would land, which with Kitty, to everyone's point, I would say Kitty is the best Untamed legendary summoner, period. Like, don't talk to me about Jotun. Don't talk to me about Llama.
Yeah, it's literally not close.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are fair points, I have to admit.
The fact that you can take Kitty to any other color, buff everything by 2 speed, True Strike, and heal your tank, K.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a time out to ask for the thumbs up, boys. It's boys and girls. Let's see. I don't know how many. We got 36 concurrent viewers. We got 21 likes.
I definitely didn't forget.
And let's get it. Let's get it, guys. Drop some comments. You know what? Your comments are too much already. I know that we're way behind on comments. But when you're watching Dwayne Cunningham talk about Splinterlands, would you expect anything less? We take our time, boys and girls. Let's see here. I love this. I love using this feature that I showed you, Jim, with the comment selection on the screen, because it actually, when I click on it, it actually like grays out the ones we've touched, so I can see where we haven't. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I
think gathering the magic right there is kind of onto something.
About this one here, items and spells.
No, the little bit lower.
Rift Watchers.
Yeah.
Gathering always knows what he's talking about, so you could grab any one of his comments and.
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking about the pack speed of $5 SPS, blah blah blah. I'm just like, but what's it gonna be in the future?
Yeah, I feel so strongly about the price appreciation argument for the cards in this game that I feel I have $100,000 bet on that right now. Like in real life, like I have $55,000 US worth of cards in this game. I have, I don't know how many, what do I got? I think I've got 1,000 Chaos Legion packs. No, I got 1,400 Chaos Legion packs.
Like, all right, real quick, someone in the chat said something. Okay.
Yeah.
How does Syphilis compare to Quicks and the new Summoner? Syphilis isn't even a good card. Whoever's telling you that, guys, don't listen to them.
You don't want Syphilis. Okay? You don't want to buy Syphilis. You don't want to get Syphilis.
You don't want Syphilis in your life. Okay. Trust me.
Yeah. What's this? Bobby goes, 12 had always told me to buy cards, not packs. Get my money's worth. Yeah, I've always enjoyed buying packs, but I've always gone hard in the beginning because I recognized, one, the pack is going to be good and strong and I'm going to want the 5 cards, and the airdrops will accumulate in this meaningful way. Plus, with Untamed, there was always this DEC triage opportunity where you could arbitrage it, buying it for 60 cents for 100,000 DEC and then put it into Splinterlands and get that tree or that arbitrage bonus. And they've renewed that, right? So I've been pro packs, but you gotta be, the conversation isn't like packs versus cards exactly. It's more like, and Bobby will agree, and probably you will too, Jim. My point more has always been, where the gaps are in your own investment in Splinterlands. If it's a deck, if you play the game and you've got a strong deck, I'm sure there are certain holes in your summoner or your tanks or your supports. Maybe your favorite splinter is doing great, but then your second and third splinters aren't doing so great. You know where the holes are. You can recognize those and fill those gaps in certain economical ways that can really move the needle to improve what you're able to do here with playing the game and extracting more rewards. And so sometimes packs are the answer to that, and sometimes individual cards are, and sometimes renting is, and sometimes, you know what I mean? So there's different ways to skin a cat.
Mm-hmm. I honestly don't think that there's any weaknesses in my deck at all. I can't think of one. Like I have a 4-drop Dragon Summoner, so when I can't use Lux, boom, 50% of the time I can use that one.
Yeah,
so my deck's literally broken.
When you pull 2 gold foil Luxes, it becomes quite easy to have a strong gold foil deck.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Dude, that's still such a broken moment. Like, that's so ridiculous. You got 2 of them.
Dude, you should have sent me your code and the resources. I would have just pulled you a gold foil, apparently.
Yeah. There was a... Let's see. Aaron said, this is a while ago, but Aaron had a good conversation. Yeah. He's the one to comment. Jim and Infidel, there was a video with Tails and After Sun. Oh, that's that one, right? Yeah, we saw that one.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. That's how long ago that's been, Dwayne.
Okay, I'm skipping some comments. Mickey G's here. What does he have to say? Mickey, a bit of a spicy commenter at times. Agree that gold foil legendaries are gold buy right now for landowners. Interesting. That's some optimism from Mickey. Mickey's been at times quite salty, and I appreciate you being here, buddy. Thank you for the comment. Print to demand. Preach, Jim. Dude, wouldn't that be cool though? I really think it would be great. It'd be a logical step in the right direction. Even with reward cards, we do 6 months, like hard and fast. Even with packs, hard and fast. It's got to be, a 6-9 month window, whatever it is. FOMO February giving out legendaries. Oh yeah. Tell me more. Talk more about FOMO February, because I don't know. I stepped away just at that time.
Yeah. So Splinterlands has been giving all of the streamers several cards. I think like 2 each day to give out. Mm-hmm. So if you're streaming 2 days, then boom, you get four cards to give out to the community. Mm-hmm. And they've been doing this for all of February. I got my cards, so I will be sending some out tonight, along with on Friday as well.
That's awesome. So tell us exactly when you go live, and give us like the what do you know the PST time, or do you just know the whatever you guys?
Well, I mean, I just have to subtract 2 hours for you, so yeah, it's not like difficult.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, so tonight, if you guys are interested, we are going live at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or if you're in Central Time Zone, like every good player in this game, then we're looking at 11. We're going on for 2 hours, and then Friday will be 8 o'clock Pacific time or 10 o'clock Standard Time, Central Standard Time, and then again another 2 hours.
Can you tell the people what cards you've been given to give away, or do you want to keep that a secret, or what?
Oh, it's just the legendary cards that have been coming from the airdrops that Splinterlands has gotten for like having packs. And so they are giving those cards out to the streamers to then give out to people.
So do you specifically know what you're giving away tonight? Like, is it 2 legendary blanks or what?
Oh, you want to know what I'm giving away?
That's right.
Well, I've gotten what? I think I've gotten 3. Oh, is it 4 cards? Yeah. All right. So I've gotten 4 cards, and I don't know which ones I'm going to give out tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just not sure yet.
Okay. Need 700. I love this sort of conversation around like who's better. And Bobby says he likes Astral and 99 better. I like Astral a lot, man. Astral is really my favorite, probably because I love death and evasiveness and that dodge. Dodge slips in there and just does some nasty things with some of the tanks that you can place. I think Kralis or Almo immunity work well with Shield Paw, but lots of tank heal in the back. Let me think that through.
You definitely need some form of resilient tank. So you need to again have shield along with the void, or or have void shield and like repair units like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Henny says Immortalis is great. Such a relief to have the magic BS covered. Yeah, I really thought Immortalis was I did not like Immortalis, and the more I've played with it, the more I've realized it's got a lot of power and usefulness.
Same. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan when I first saw him, because again, for me, I'm trying to think of what is a just good proactive card, and I was like, oh, the void's meh, whatever. The shatter doesn't matter, but the shatter matters.
It does.
And the minus HP is big, and when there's so much magic going around, and you're just like, everything now on my team has void, so I don't have to worry as much about it.
One thing I've been really enjoying lately, let me see, what is Rune Man? You mentioned Shatter. Rune Master Floor. Rune. Where is she? What? Don't give me that.
Are you on Dragon
That's
only?
why, yeah. So, where is she? So this is when you bring, if you bring Runemancer Flore with Immortalis, obviously you need a high mana match for that. But holy cow, this card is so good in that context because it has magic and it has archery, and the damage output is amazing. And then it has the huge hit points, so the void works nicely with it. But then the shatter lends itself so perfectly with this card because the magic fires before the archery does. That's just how magic does. It goes before archery. So what ends up happening is the magic fires, hits the opponent's hearts, even if they have armor, and then shatters the armor, and then the archery follows up and hits the hearts.
That's stupidly good. I didn't even think about that. Holy cow.
Yeah, I saw it. Really I saw it earlier today. I think it might have been this game, but the rule set, or I had it happen. Yeah, there's this one here. Let's watch it. And I just was like astonished by, because he gets armor somewhere. Yeah, he gets armor from the Crustacean King, and I was just cracking it and then hitting the hearts, and I just kept thinking, wow, that's such perfect combination.
Yeah, that's a beautiful combo.
And this is an equalizer rule set. Everybody's got the same health. The double triage. See, like equalizer rule set is one where like Red Panda will really help because you're going to get that one more triage. Like, look at this. In Champion 2, this would have a triage, or I'd have 3 triages. Plus, if this was my dragon, I could do 4 triages. But yeah.
Yeah.
Flora is amazing. And what's the cost on this card right now? Like, not enough. That's the answer.
As I say, I think it's around $80, but that's gold foil.
Hmm.
I pretty much only know gold foil cost right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch asks, how does this book compare to the Quicks and New Summoner? So that's the other dragon.
That was the one I brought up a little bit ago.
Oh, did you? Was I maybe I wasn't there for that one.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Don't get syphilis. You don't want it.
Syphilis.
Whoever
I see what you did there, Jim.
Card's wrong.
I see what you did. I didn't know what you meant by it at the time, but I see what you did there. And I love this comment from Bobby. I wish I'd never watched Letterkenny so I could watch it all over again for the first time.
I can't watch dumb shows like that. I just can't.
Really? Those are the best, man.
No.
What about Trailer Park Boys?
I haven't watched that one.
Yeah. I knew there was a reason I never liked you.
Oh, is that true? Okay. All right. Well, I'm just gonna report you.
Yeah, I like that kind of humor. Letterkenny is funny too. I've only seen a few episodes, but it's good stuff.
Is it though?
Only 160 to max reg for reg and 335 for gold foil. Yeah, I mean, I like this, but I haven't moved on it. I still feel like Rift Watchers is still just getting dumped on, and I just feel like the opportunity hasn't, like, we haven't even sold the first 1 million packs. Mm-hmm. I guess my mind is, I'm leaning towards believing these prices are going to continue to tick down for the foreseeable future, and I think I can see that even now as I look at the prices again, fresh for today for the first time in a while. Like, let's see, where is Coral? Let me look at all the legendaries, because I generally know where the legendary price points have been. Agor stayed pretty stationary around the 20, 22. He has been as low as 18 over like the last few months. So this is like a slight uptick. This has been, closer to 30 at times. So this feels like, it's a slight downtick. I feel like this was closer to 18. So yeah. The prices are in some ways relatively stable, maybe moving down slightly. I feel like Runemaster Flora was 15-ish, and this was probably $7. This was as low as 3 at times. So I'm not, maybe what I'm saying is I'm not concerned that I need to rush into these purchases now, but I do want them for sure. And that goes for not just the legendaries, but even these. I do want them. I think I play at a diamond champion level, and I want at least level 5 for every one of these because of the bonuses that the Gold League that epics provide. Yeah.
True. And
the prices are very reasonable for you, talking 32 copies to get you there times, right? Like $100 for a summoner that's going to serve you well in gold and diamond.
How much is that one in gold foil?
Gold foil.
Oh. And you need how many to get it to level 5? 7?
Yeah, 7.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good thing to think about.
How do you feel about these ones here, Jim? Like, has time changed anything about where these, like, what is the stronger of these? What is the weaker of these?
The card that has really changed my mind on it is Dallin. I was just like, literally worst card in the entire set. And now I don't think that anymore. Because it's like, when you see so much armor in this game, right? And you're able to hit the armor and then still cripple them, reducing their max HP down to 1. It's so much better than just hitting straight armor.
Yes.
And it's the Dallin has actually kind of converted me into thinking he's a pretty decent card.
You would need $150 essentially, maybe 170 to get a max level gold foil. Oof, guys, like that seems so reasonable to me. And I know the regular foil is even cheaper,
Although I would still rather have the Thaddeus if we, but there's definitely really good causes for having this card. Really good.
Oh, see, this is just a hard pill to swallow. 100,000 DEC.
Don't do it.
Yeah. For essentially twice as much, I could have the gold foil. That's the thing.
Now Scargor, on the other hand, still one of my top picks.
Yep.
I think I put Scargor as my second pick. I think I said Illithane and then Scargor. I absolutely love Scargor with that combo setup of Coral Lurker. Dude, it's just nuts. You go in there with any other speed buffs, and it's just like, okay, now we're going real fast with phase and the dodge. Okay, cool. Let's make it happen.
Yep. Fernhardt is one I really like. I agree with everything you just said. And this one I always liked. This one I didn't like, and now I do like.
Yeah.
Fernhardt is one I have a lot of respect for, and I think is better than maybe than the community acknowledges. And I really want it, but I'm not rushing into anything, but I did just place a bid on Dowling because that just seems reasonable. Like if I could do the bid for 13, get $130 for that, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Okay, so we are getting close to 2 hours here, guys. Probably go for another 19, 20 minutes kind of thing. And I'm going to skip to the bottom and see if there's any last comments or questions. Man, I appreciate everybody hanging out today. We're not done yet, but just want to say that right now. And Bobby, you've been here pretty much the whole time. Thanks, pal. Who else have I seen? Henny's been here from early on. Mitch had lots to say. Gathering's been chatting it up. Appreciate it. Darren, old school.
Oskew's here now.
What's that, pal?
Oskew's here.
Oskew, dude. Good to see you, buddy. I'm in attention. DNA. And yeah, we're just talking. Right now we're talking epic summoners, and Rift Watchers a little bit. Trying to get into conversations around whether now is the time to get to if you want these cards, or if it's patience and just watch the prices move.
What you messaged me earlier, rentals are being changed to have a pay 1 DEC to re-enlist the card.
That's right.
What is that?
So I actually only heard about this through Gank and Keys talking about this. Guys, did you hear about this in the chat? Did anybody hear what Gank and Keys said, or they read about how they want to change the DEC? Sorry, the way the rental market works, because it's been so crazy how many times cards are being relisted, because everybody's trying to be the lowest card, but also be the first to be rented. And the number of transactions through services like Splex.gg with the rent column, or whether it's even Peak Monsters with their rental plan and their premium and whatnot. It's crazy number of transactions that are happening just to essentially you relist the same cards on the rental market. So apparently, I saw Gank and Keys talking about this. They want to change it to where there'll be a DEC cost, like a single DEC to submit a resubmission of the price, which is very interesting. And I think would change if that's happens. I didn't understand. I didn't get to hear the full video, so I'm not sure if it's a done deal, if it's a proposal, if it's like where that lands. But if somebody has a link or something, I want to open that because I'd love to see more. And I didn't pull it up before we went live. But
apparently they said Chatter made an official announcement.
Okay, let's go check it out.
Oh yeah, there it is. Market listing fees and expirations. Soul Keep. Wait, that's going to be the name of it? Soul Keep?
The newest tower defense.
Splinterlands tower defense. Holy cow.
Okay, here we go.
We're going to go for another 2 hours. You ready?
Splinterlands team is... I am going to do a live tomorrow for members only, so if you guys are members of the YouTube channel, I'm going to go live tomorrow at 10 a.m. So that's members only, though. Splinterlands team is planning to introduce a 1 DEC or 1 credit fee for all new listing prices, updates on Splinterlands card sales or rental market card sales also. as well as a 30-day expiration time for both new and existing listings. Wow. These changes are currently planned to release on, this will be a DEC burn, I guess, won't it? Like it's not going to be in the hands of Splinterlands. It'll be burnt, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. Send it to the DAO.
These changes are currently planned on the to be released on Tuesday. Okay, so that's 2 weeks from now. During the normal maintenance, and so this is not being proposed, it's like being done. These changes are necessary to help reduce our internal server costs. That's huge. It's awesome because the server cost has been like a real problem for like the longevity or the runway that we have, right, for the finances, because that's one of the major costs that we have to eat to keep Splinterlands going. Splinterlands servers have to process millions of market listings and updates every day, and they need to index, cache, etc. But also third-party markets and services that are doing the same thing, right? It's like like Peak Monsters and Splex.gg. By adding a relatively small fee and having listings that are not sold or rented expire, we can very significantly reduce the amount of data that needs to be indexed and made available as well. That's, I mean, sounds true and fair. And then I would say, you know, if people are worried about the cost associated with managing their own deck, right? Like you got thousands of cards and you're worried about paying 1 DEC times thousands of transactions. Okay, but it's going to get, like any free market condition, when you tweak the number, this is just going to essentially get wrapped up in the rental price of the cards that do rent. And so I imagine this translates to a slight uptick of rental card prices because it's got to account for the fee itself, I would imagine. Jim, what do you think about this?
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Especially the listing expiration.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's sometimes, dude, cards are just going to sit there and literally do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that. Like I've got on my, let's see, my cards for sale. These cards have been for sale for a long while, like a month or two. And
it says to relist. So what does that mean exact? Or is it just to list them? Every single card you put on there is going to be a DEC.
Yeah, exactly. To put it onto the market, either for rental or for sale. And it's going to, after 30 days, your listing will expire. Meaning if you want to, like you want to do what I'm doing, which is list cards for sale, every 30 days, if it doesn't sell, I'm going to have to reprice it, relist it, and pay another 1 DEC. I mean, it's not a lot of money. This strikes me as a logical, I don't know. If there's a downside to this, I'm not seeing it.
So when we were talking about, is it going to be burned? If they're utilizing this to like cut back on the cost of server stuff, they could be utilizing it to pay for it.
That's true too.
So,
sounds great. Sounds great, man. Yeah, Necro says, yeah, the DEC will be burnt.
okay, it's burnt.
Let's see. Makes sense. Bobby thinks it makes sense.
So they're talking about the overtime thing of, yeah, if something's literally sitting there for 2 months, then it's going to cost twice as much versus just have it expire after 30 days. Okay.
State of Survival seems to think it's maybe not the best. We should just be able to change the price on the fly instead of having to take the card down and relist it. But I think there's something about how the market works. Like you create a transaction almost. It's almost like a smart contract. Like when you list a card, you're saying if somebody sends X amount of DEC to the system, like in a smart contract, then this is autocomplete. So, you know, for you to come in and say, if you were to tweak the price and someone was to buy it at the same time, I think there'd be some sort of problem there. So I don't know that State of Survival, your idea would be feasible, even if it, right? Because you need to take it down. And then at that moment it was no longer available. And then it was relisted. Otherwise there could be problems with a completion at a wrong moment. Aftersound covered it as well. That's cool, man. I love Aftersound. What has been renting?
I just don't want to see cards listed for like 1/10 of a DEC anymore.
Yeah, that too, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So maybe this begins a consolidation process that is long overdue for some of those cards, which is good for us too.
Yep.
Someone has been renting a gold foil obsidian. My gold foils for the longest time. I put it up months ago, so it's definitely not the cheapest anymore. Interesting. So they're just enjoying because they booked it. They don't want to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the people that like post their stuff up there for a ridiculous amount and then it just sits there for a while, it's like, get that out of my face.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was looking at the non-card market over here. Mm-hmm. And actually I'm not there. There we go. Non-card market. And I was looking at the titles. Look at this. High Roller VIP.
That's not right.
100,000. Like I don't think this is going to sell. I'm not saying it's worth it. I'm just pointing it out because this is the interesting thing when there is no supply. Like someone can come in and say, I've got one of these. I'm willing to list it for 100,000. And if somebody comes along and wants it, there you go, dude. It just happens. And I don't think it's going to sell. I'd be really astonished if it did. But man, it's cool when markets start to get to a place where this is almost the 1DC is in some sense a disincentive to multiple listings, but it's in another sense an encouragement to consolidate BCX into one card. And then lastly, the fact that listings expire, it seems like 2 or 3 different kind of components under one umbrella that are all going to lead to probably less supply on the market. And that's probably a good thing for price appreciation. So cool, man. Really cool. I wonder what people look at this. I was hoping to see the emoticons and see what that told me.
Down.
93 thumbs down. Like why? Like what? I wish I could see why. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Dude, you know what I found out the other day? What? So that guy who has really good opinions on stuff and like all of the proposals, Dave McCoy?
Yep.
Dude, I didn't realize I talked to him on the elevator ride back to my hotel room at Splinterlands on the final day. I didn't realize I didn't know I was talking to him. I found this out like last week.
That's funny. Yeah, man. I mean, I met him too, and he's a great guy, and yeah, it's cool like that. You know what I'm hearing, Jim, when you say that? It's like
I already know what you're thinking.
What?
Oh, I thought you were gonna bring up the Jarvie thing.
I was gonna leave it. I was gonna be gracious and let that one slide, Jim. But no, I was just gonna say that the team is so approachable. That's what I'm hearing you say. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not like, it's not some guy wearing a 3-piece suit and not too good to look at you. It's like, no, Aggie's there going for pizza with us, and Matt's like hanging out with his kids and like answering questions, and you know what I mean? And every one of them was like that.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing everyone. Oh, dude. So I don't want to have any spoilers, but I think I might throw out some spoilers tonight.
What's that? Tell me.
A leaked information about tonight's stream at around 11 o'clock Central. All right? There's going to be someone joining on that stream.
Oh.
Yeah. There's going to be a special guest, I hear.
Can we get any sort of hints or like what? We got nothing?
The hint I will say is I didn't know I was talking to them for like 15 minutes.
Cool, man. Really cool. I think I know.
So
Yeah.
Other people might not know.
Cool. Really cool. You did just say that you didn't know you were talking to Dave McCoy.
So.
The market will adjust with these changes. It will be interesting to see what's listed on the market for rent and what the prices are. Yeah, it'll just get wrapped up into regular pricing, I would say. But it'll be interesting. There's turbulent times when transition unfolds. So it might be like a period of time where like far fewer listings happen and card prices spike dramatically for like a week or two, and then people start figuring it out and like consolidating and being willing to pay the DEC to make it happen, even if it's thousands of DEC because they've got thousands of cards, and it'll start to the equilibrium will be found. It'll be just a turbulent few days or a week though. I like the charge for changing prices for bots, just hammering the system, but it also ups the cost of rentals for lower league people. I mean, this is true.
Good.
And good, says Jim. Oh, Jim. I mean, he's right, but at the same time, that's what we talked about earlier. There's nuance and complicated pros and cons to every possible action we could take in an ecosystem like Splinterlands.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, dude. I like this comment. I'm just waiting for the day vouchers are $300.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm not putting it out. I mean, between the burning and between the event, like the bull markets that are coming,
to make 40,000 a day.
$300, dude. I
think no way.
What do I got? How can I see my voucher count?
Go to your that.
And then
others.
I think I sold them
500. 500 is halfway.
I sold 900 or 1,000 or something the other day to get some DECB, but yeah, I wanted to hold on to 500 just in case something comes. I mean, I don't really believe 300 is coming, but dude, price appreciation I believe is coming. And
I actually have some staking right now in a liquidity pool with Hive.
Cool.
I did that today.
How is that? You just started it?
Yeah, I just started it today, and then I had a little bit of DEC, so I'm just like, you know what? Let's add a little bit to these liquidity pools.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool, man. Okay. Let's see. But even level 3 cards still only rent for. Level 3 cards only lent for 0.1 DEC a day, I guess now, hey? And so the point would be that once this happens, there will be no cards for a 0.1 DEC rental, period.
Good.
I mean, is it, if you have to rent 50 cards, like sometimes I rent cards for certain phrase, and maybe I rent 30, 40, 50 cards if I really want to get all the cards that I need. If I had to pay 50, let's say 50 DEC as opposed to 5 DEC, is that going to break the bank? I don't know. I mean, hopefully not.
Henny says you guys need to stop letting for so cheap. Oh, renting for so cheap. You're being ripped off by the bots.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, same thing like when people were selling cards for half of a penny, and we were like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Oh man, bots are a problem, but I'm going to keep providing to them for stupidly cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, in some sense, it was them too. And then I think, like I said with Chaos Legion Summoners or Untamed Summoners and Kitty, we start to feel that Pelacor Mercenary is just a penny card because it's a penny. Mm-hmm. It's very hard for people to hold on to the fact that price is one thing and value is another. And the same is true for like everything in this game. But I think when we look at prices on the rental market and they're at like 0.1 penny or 0.1 DEC or whatever, you feel like that's right. But
dude, that guy with Immortalis, phenomenal combo.
Yeah.
Like off the top, it doesn't really look like it is, but the minus HP from Immortalis, this guy has flying, which means he's dodging melee and range at 25% more. On top of, you throw the Void now onto him, for which he previously had a problem with magic.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's taking half damage from magic, 33 to half, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, once you get him to gold, now he has the sustain. Like, Immortalis has made Pelacor Mercenary a monster, and he's already good.
Yeah. I really like Pelacor Deceiver with Astral.
Oh, I hate that card.
With Astral. And I would go 1v1 Pelacor Deceiver versus Pelacor Mercenary, me with Astral and you with Immortalis.
Uh-huh.
And then I would have 2 mana to spare, by the way, so I could like bring out like an Inspire and maybe an Affliction or something to cancel your heal. But I've got Retaliate and Backfire. I think I win that. But you're right.
Let's be honest though, if it's a 1v1 situation, I ain't coming out with that anyway. So
yeah. Fair enough. True story.
1v1 situation, I might be coming out with an Oceanus, okay, and a Lux.
Oh man, guys, appreciate you. Eli, thanks for trying to tag people. I see that. Riftwing tank's better than Pelacor with Astral. That's probably true too. But definitely the Pelacor Deceiver is amazing with the Astral. It's got that. It already has flight, and then you add the dodge, and it has the backfire, so you get to enjoy that. But you're right, the other one that you mentioned is backfire too. But the Retaliate, oh, I love Retaliate, man.
This thing can attack though. Along with have everything else that the other guy has.
Yeah, the other one has Scavenge though. But yeah, this is a strong card. But anyways, guys, it's been amazing. Jim, it's really good to see you again and to chat with you about all things Splinterlands. And look forward to doing it again soon. And guys, I will be live tomorrow. With members only. So come hang out 10 a.m. tomorrow if you're one of the members for the YouTube channel. And go see Jim tonight live 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight to see possibly some interesting interviews, possibly some giveaways, some cool stuff, I'm sure. Jim, thanks for hanging out, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Everyone take care.
Bye for now.